Okay, happy spring. Excited for spring ball to get started. Obviously things are a little different this spring than they were last year. A lot of excitement in the air when it comes to our team, when it comes to our current players, our new staff, recruiting, all the things that are happening in college football right now. There's just a buzz out there, which I enjoy, and I think it's really good for the sport, and I hope we get some solutions here soon. For us, we're getting started tomorrow on the practice field, today in the meeting room. We'll have 3 practices this week, and then 3 practices every week until the spring game on May 2nd, which will be hopefully even better attended than last year's Dogs After Dark. And we will do everything we can to make it a great experience. We should know who the 2 honorary head coaches are by the end of the week, and we'll be able to announce that, but certainly sounds like 2 great names we're planning to bring back here for the game. This week we have our coaching clinic, and we'll have Coach McVay, Coach Shanahan, Coach Shula all in town to be a part of UW football. That should be a blast. We have a healthy team going into practice. I believe the only people that are not able to participate would be Denzel Boston, Ephesians Prysock, Charlie Crowell might be limited, Jacob Manu, but I believe unless they had Zadrius Randy Saleh, unless they had surgery, they're participating. So we're fortunate. We should have close to 86 scholarship players, or about 76 scholarship players participating, and another 15 to 20 walk-ons. So it'll be a jam-packed field. We'll look good, and hopefully we'll have great practices. So I'll leave it to you guys for questions, but this is obviously a fantastic time of year where we get done having to always talk about football and actually get to go watch it.
Jedd, those guys are out for the entirety of spring ball, is that right?
I think so. I know that the ones that had the ACLs are. I think Prysock should be able to get back maybe at the very end. And same with Boston, but I'm not exactly sure what it looks like right now.
You mentioned different this year than last year. Is one of the big positive differences those numbers you talk about, the number of players out there?
Yeah, for sure. Just the idea of having 7 scholarship offensive linemen to 16 scholarship offensive linemen is an enormous difference. The fact that we've got guys going into their 2nd year in our offense and rather than our 1st year makes a huge difference. The fact that we've got players that have returned in their 2nd year on defense, even though it's a little bit different scheme, it's not completely different, will make a huge difference. And then some of the pieces that we brought in are also very exciting, with the Amari Evans, with the Takario Davis. Kai Horton, I think, will be a really nice add for us in the quarterback room. And then having DeMond, and DeMond now coming off of 2 starts, and now really being able to take the team and see where he can take it.
What happened with Zadrius?
Zadrius is coming off of an ACL from when he was a high school player.
So Jedd, is Durfee and J1, are they?
They will not be, those are 2 other surgeries that are not going to be cleared for spring at this point in time. I think that we'll see a lot of them working to the side, but not participating in action. And Deuce Davis will not be participating in action right now, coming off of that tricep injury from UCLA week, from the Oregon week of practice. So again, they'll be working through it. I'll give you an update each week on are we getting closer, do any of them be able to participate, but right now that group will not be able to be a part of practice.
So did Boston and Prysock just get hurt more than out?
No, they got, at the end of the year, it's just some cleanup stuff that we just had to get repaired and get them ready to go.
In terms of your quarterback development, how important is it to have a more full offensive line this spring for developing some of the younger guys?
The run game and the quarterback development are both critical to having an offensive line. And not just an offensive line, but an offensive line that has some experience, Garrett Hatchett, Carver Willis, both older guys. Landon Hatchett coming off of the ACL, now being full go starting center. Zach Henning coming off of his now third year. Pocky Fee now second year. You get Max McCree really in his fourth year of college, now being with us. All of these guys, and Drew has a party, fourth year of college. The experience that these guys are bringing, along with the amount of players, the John Mills, the Champ, the Jack Schaefer, the young kids, the older kids, all coming together, it should help Jonah. I'm not looking to run Jonah into the ground during spring or anything like that, but it'll help Jonah get a better feel for a run game. Adam Muhammad, Jordan Washington, Julie McMahon will benefit from it. And then DeMond and the rest of the quarterback room. We got two young freshmen that are both here, Dash and Keeney. Those guys will benefit from just being able to work two fields. When you have more than 7 linemen, you could have 7, 8 linemen on one field, you could have 7, 8 linemen on another field, and we'll be able to have 2 team periods going at once during spring. And then our younger players will have a much better chance to develop quicker.
Where Carver begins spring camp is where he's going to end it, or do you feel like there's some chance where he can play both sides?
No, I don't believe. I believe that there's a great chance that he'll play a tackle position. Which tackle position, I'm unsure of right now. We're going to let Drew, Max, and Carver start off by really competing for that spot, and Swanee. And we've got those 4 guys that have now experience playing. Swanee had no experience playing and then he started, right? Drew has a party, his only experience was at San Diego State. And then Max's only experience was at Maryland at a junior college. All 3 of those guys have started for Washington Huskies in the Big Ten, along with Carver coming from Kansas State. We're gonna let them all compete, along with the young guys.
About a week or so ago, Jonah posted a before and after picture. The before didn't look great.
Yeah.
The after looked fantastic. Can you talk about how he got to where he was and where he's at?
Yeah, I mean, I think I always want to credit the strength staff and the nutrition staff for working together with Jonah. Usually I always just say strength staff. And really what's important is to also mention and notice what the nutrition staff has done with our players and also our training staff to help Jonah get that body fat down 3% more, from 16 to 13, and continuing to build up strength. He's attacking the weight room. Jonah knows this is his year, right? This is his last year of playing college football. There's no surprises there. He's played 3 full years. So when you have that dream and that desire, your habits of today have to match your dreams for tomorrow. And we talk about that with our team. And I think that's an opportunity right now for Jonah's habits certainly showed up and the picture reflected it.
What's different about the way you guys approach nutrition from when you arrived here?
Well, the first part of it is that we were in the process of getting a nutritionist when I got here. And then we wound up going from 1 nutritionist that left to go to Alabama to 3 now, working full-time with football. Second thing is the Don James Center has opened up for us in November 1st, I think it was. And we worked really hard, and we still work really hard collaborating with the chefs over there on campus to put together performance meals that really help our players. We have a big investment financially in food. If we're not, we were always catering before. We didn't have performance chefs working to build out meals for our players. We're now in a position where we can cater for a change-up, but we can use the nutrition program here and the performance chefs and the performance nutritionists that we have, sports dietitians, really helping our kids make their plates, helping our kids understand what they're trying to get done, and it's showing up in their bodies.
With Jonah changing his body type like he has, what have you seen that's done for him? Have you noticed that
Confidence.
change?
I tell our guys, right, have swagger, right? Confidence plus joy. And he's got that right now. He feels really good. He feels really good about where he's going to be going into this season. And I think that what he is excited about is not just being able to break a tackle, but then be able to finish in the end zone. Jonah will talk about he's gained speed by losing some weight, by attacking the offseason. We have a faster team than we did in December. On December 31st, we had one team. Tomorrow we'll have another team that's faster. And it's faster for a lot of reasons, either what we brought in, but also how they've trained. Jonah is going to be a clear-cut example of somebody that I believe will be able to see how his change in body also has change in speed.
Besides Hatchett, who are some of your other centers?
Zach Henning is the center for us. He'll probably be working with the twos right off the bat. We're going to teach some of the young guys about snapping. We have Lowen Coleman Brusa coming in, who's also going to be a center for us. We've got, I think we're teaching Champ right now how to do center quarterback exchange. Some of these guys played center in high school, but haven't snapped from the under center snaps. So we're working through that. But we've got about 4 or 5 guys right now that we believe. Garen Hatchett also plays center. So we're going to have Landon, Garen, and Zach probably will be our first 3 guys out there. And then we're also teaching David how to play center.
I know you've talked about this before, but just for a little refresher, for Damon, the biggest difference from a year ago to today, physically and mentally, is what?
Well, his weight. He's another one that I think Damon's up to 198. 198. His goal is 200 by tomorrow. I didn't see what he weighed in at today, see how he did at spring break. But his goal was to hit 200 pounds for the first day of spring ball. He was at 180, 181 last year at this time. He's a year older. He turned 19. We're very happy that we were able to celebrate his 19th birthday. His amount of time that he has spent trying to learn not just offensive football, but defensive football is what I think will be able to help him make the biggest leap. When you arrive on campus and you're a high school quarterback, you're spending all of your time trying to learn our offense. He's now had a year of knowing our offense. Now he's actually able to study defense. And that, I think, mentally will give him the greatest advantage from last year to this year, is that this extra year now has given him this opportunity to understand what cover 3 and cover 1 and cover 2 and zone pressures and how to get away from certain looks and how to recognize defense in a certain way.
Is there anybody else who you felt like made big strides in the weight room or conditioning or anything like that?
Adam Muhammad is a specimen. I think that he's made incredible strides, but that's not surprising for me with Adam Muhammad, the way he's attacking. Jordan Washington is up 20 pounds from when he arrived on campus. He arrived on campus at 163. He was at 184 the other day. I'd say the offensive line, look at some of their squat numbers, are incredibly impressive. The defensive line, Zach Durfee, is just killing it in the weight room right now, doing an amazing job. Excited about some of the improvements that I would say the receiving corps has made. They've certainly worked extremely hard. Rashid looks a lot different, looks a lot bigger, a lot stronger. We'll see what it looks like out here tomorrow, but they're going to look different in their pads than they did a year ago.
You're excited, the players, there's excitement, there's energy, maybe nerves. Are you a speech guy? Will you give one tomorrow to the team, and what will be a message?
I'm always excited. You guys know that. That's not anything new. But in terms of speed, no, I'm not a big day of. We'll cover our team meeting tonight. We'll talk about what we need to get done. We'll talk about how do you practice, what our expectations are, what are our standards. We're not going to rah-rah it up. That's not kind of how we're built. We're going to go out there, we're going to play and practice well. That's going to be our goal. We're going to stay off the ground. We're going to try to stay healthy. We're going to try to take care of each other. We're going to wear pads. Every day we're allowed to wear pads, so we'll have 11 days of full padded practices. We'll have and a game in full pads. So we'll be in full pads 12 times. My hope is out of the 15 practices. The first 2, we're not allowed to be in pads, so we won't be. But we're going to try to be fast, physical, smart, explosive, tough, but we're not gonna rah-rah it up.
Can you talk a little bit about, I know Damon's obviously the number one guy in that room, but can you talk a little bit about splitting up the reps with the other guys, especially since Damon is dramatically different than the rest of the guys you have in the room?
Well, we have to find a way. I was going back and looking at the practice plans from last year, and you start, you forget that, Damon wasn't the starter. So the amount of reps he was, was like, let's call it 6 to 4, or, you'd have a 8 to 4 sometimes in a 12-play period where you go 4-4-4, and Will would take the second batch of 4. So it's going to be exciting to see Damon have as many reps as he's going to get and how much better he can get. The amount of players we have, we're 30 more players than we had last spring combined. We're going to go 2 fields a lot. So a lot of the reps that the third and fourth guy normally can't get because of just space and time and players, we're now going to be able to get. So Kai Horton will have a lot of opportunities as the number 2 quarterback to get the same type of reps as Damon had. And then Keeney and Dash and Shea will have opportunities to compete for that number 2 spot. Rather than just stand there and say, I'm competing, they're actually going to be able to go on a field and go compete with the other 3s and 4s out there.
What do you envision, I guess, for Quentin Moore? He's got this year back, he missed all last year. Where do you kind of see him right now?
Well, my hope is that Quentin Moore is going to be our starting wide tight end, our on the ball, physical tight end, similar to the role of Kalecki, that Kalecki had to take over, but even more so of that ability to be a great pass protector and play action, be a great run blocker, and then be able to give us some stuff vertically down the field. That's my hope. It was such a shame. It was the 12th play of the first game of the year, and we lose our starting tight end to a fluke play. My thought is that if we can get him where I think he can be, the contribution is going to be significant.
Was there ever, speaking of that play you talked about, was there ever any apology from them? I mean, the guy cost his entire season on a cheap shot. Was there ever any feedback from them at all on that?
Yeah, that never got addressed ever since that, from that game. It was just the officials coming back to me and telling me that was something that is illegal, but that was the extent.
When you peek your head into Ryan Walter's kind of office when you lead the defense, what intrigues you, or how would you describe your feelings of what you're going to see out there on defense this spring?
I'm excited for the great challenge that it will bring to our offense. There's a lot of similarities to what we did with Steve and the amount of man coverage we're going to see, the 5 down fronts that we're going to deal with, the cover 3 that is a little bit different. The cover 2 is different, but it's going to give us a chance to see how fast we can process. It'll give us an opportunity as coaches to work on adjustments throughout the spring. But what's really important for us is we're not looking to win a day or lose a day in spring. We're looking to see, can we get our offense better? Can we get our defense better? And what, the challenge is for Coach Walters that I've told him is just focus on getting the defense as good as you want to get it. Don't worry about what we're doing on offense. Don't worry about the outcome of a play. Your job is to be great on defense. Jimmy's job and the offensive staff's job and my job offensively is to see how good can we be on offense and not get wrapped up in who won the day. Then we'll see if we continue to improve. Then we'll have great competitions, and that should enable you guys to be able to write cool stuff.
You've been pretty adamant about your scholarship limit at 85, and I know things change and evolve. Is that still the plan etched in stone, open for?
Well, yeah, I'm not sure anything's etched in stone in college football right now. We're constantly in this ever-changing environment, a better understanding, what's going to happen on April 7th or sometime between April 7th and probably the end of spring football. We should have a final resolution on the settlement, right? So the case has to settle before we even know about roster caps or no roster caps. Assuming it does, we're gonna do our best to be at 85. Does that mean that if one or two over 85 we have to be, that's something that we would figure out, and then we would just take that out of our cap. That would be the way that would work. But we have to still figure out a lot of other things right now in terms of how is the new college football, the new frontier, gonna actually get implemented? How are these rules gonna go into place? How quickly is everything going to happen? So if we have 86 or 87, we'll talk with Pat and Aaron and see if that's what we need to, if that's what we're gonna do. But my thought process right now is 85.
And with 85, you talk about the salary cap. How are you in the NIL field? Are you adequate, middle,
Yeah.
top? Where are you?
Well, we always want more, right? That we know that. That's always going to be part of the process. We are very fortunate at the University of Washington that we are a full revenue share program, meaning we're going to max it out, which is 22% of your TV revenue, which is going to be the $20.5 million. That's been guaranteed to us. So the great part about being at UW is that there was no doubt that Pat was going to make sure that we had the maximum that a player can get. The key is how much more can we get? Because as we know, there's no programs that we're competing with that are ending it with their revenue share dollars. They're always going to go above and beyond. That's when I think we have the greatest advantage. Now, you guys are going to say I'm always positive. What I'm going to tell you is, how can you not have a great advantage when you have 12 Fortune 500 companies in Seattle? They do not have that in some of our rivals. When you have the 54,000 millionaires in Seattle, they do not have that in most or all of our rivals. And the fact that 73%, I think is what I read most recently, of our graduates live in the Pacific Northwest and come back and stay within X amount of miles from campus, most of our programs or all of the rivals don't have that. So we believe that once NIL becomes real, we're able to go to the community and we're able to make deals and we're able to get all of these companies on board. And if they choose to get on board, we will have the best NIL program in the country. If they don't choose to get on board, then we'll be up here begging and pleading again.
Has everybody in your program signed an agreement for July 1 forward with the school?
I don't want to say everyone because I might be off on one or two, but we are close to 98%, if not 100% by tomorrow, of the MOU deals that we have in place. Now, we haven't put an MOU deal in front of everybody on the team. We have to see what it all looks like come the end of spring. But all the MOU deals that we have in place have been signed, and we're in a really good place moving forward, assuming nothing changes with the settlement with Judge Wolkin.
All right, thank you, everybody. We'll get Coach Doherty up here.